everyone, this is Ben Foggins Media Corner back again with a brand new movie review. Welcome back to a brand new movie review, and for today's movie review, I'm going to talk to you guys about the 1996 live-action animated sports family comedy. And this is also its 25th anniversary. It's also its 25th anniversary, so I'm also celebrating this movie for its 25th anniversary, and that is, of course, Space Jam. And I'm also wearing a Space Jam shirt, as you guys can see, which is really awesome. So, anyway, Space Jam, this was directed by Joe Pytka, and basically tells the story about, of course, this famous basketball player named Michael Jordan, who plays as himself, and we see in the opening about his younger days on how he was fascinated with basketball, and since the years gone by, and how he became the greatest basketball player of all time, until he decides to basically retire from basketball to basically pursue his career in baseball, just like his father did. But unfortunately, he's not really good at baseball. And meanwhile, we go to this other planet where we follow this evil alien named Mr. Schwackhammer, voiced by Danny DeVito, who has these tiny criminal alien group known as the Nerdlurks, they are these tiny helpless aliens who have no talent. And basically they decide to invade this cartoon world where we see these famous cartoon characters from Warner Brothers known as the Looney Tunes, where they basically want to challenge them to a basketball game so they can become it. So if they basically if the Nerdlurks win the basketball game, they will make the Looney Tunes be enslavement. And basically the Nerdlurks, they come to our world to basically steal the talent from every single great basketball player, and then they become the toughest, strongest basketball team known as the Monstars. And basically the Looney Tunes are in deep trouble about this. So they basically get Michael Jordan, who they abduct him to basically come to their world, where of course Michael Jordan interacts with the Looney Tunes characters, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and all that. And all the Looney Tunes basically ask for Michael Jordan's help to basically help them to basically learn how to play basketball, and hopefully they can win as a team known as the Toon Squad, so they can hopefully avoid being in enslavement from these aliens. So that's pretty much the story of Space Jam. So from my experience of Space Jam, I remember watching this movie quite a few times a lot when I was a kid. I remember watching it on my old TV in my old home, as well as watching it when I was on holiday with my family, and whenever it was on TV at the time, I would always put it on. And since then, I've since watched the film over recent years, since I even got my own copy of the film on DVD, which I still do have, which is on my shelves over there. But and since when the sequel was coming out, of course I was in preparation for that sequel, so I did rewatch the first film. Although I had a bit of a flu at the time, I did have a bit of a flu while I was watching it, because I wasn't feeling great after my first jab. I did feel alright, but then after that I started feeling a bit sick, and unfortunately I had the virus, so I was isolating, and then I did watch this at home while I was in quarantine. And I had to wait for a couple of days before I did actually see the sequel. I couldn't see the sequel on the release date, but I'll explain that when I do my review of the sequel, though. And since then, back then when the movie was released back in 1996, the critics were kind of mixed on it. I mean, well, critics were kind of either mixed or kind of lukewarm with the film. But in recent years, it has gained a massive cult favorite. It has become a massive cult hit from audiences, because of the concept of having Michael Jordan, a famous basketball player like Michael Jordan, teaming with the famous cartoon characters like Bugs Bunny from the Looney Tunes and all that. It seemed really good. It just seems like a really fun, creative idea. And does my opinion still hold up to this day? You betcha. I really love Space Jam a lot as a kid. I really love Space Jam a lot. It's obviously one of my favorite childhood movies of all time. And of course, everything about Space Jam, I adore everything, because it's just one of my biggest. It's just, of course, from reliving my childhood, still holds up to this day, because of how fun it is for when I was a young age, and what I am to this day. I still absolutely adore this movie because of what the movie just really is. And for the cast in the film, Michael Jordan, who just plays as himself, he's extremely likable, and he's very, very good in this movie. And of course, and we do see him, you do feel for him really, of course, in the beginning of after the beginning of the film, when we do see him trying to use sport, but it doesn't go well for him at all until his life changes when we do see him playing basketball with the Looney Tunes, which I really liked, as well as towards the end of the film when we do see him like he doesn't kind of have to worry about his own life really or anything at all, which that really makes him more likable. And of course, with him interacting with the Looney Tunes, it just makes it makes this film even more fun than ever. And for the human characters, you got Wayne Knight from Jurassic Park. He was pretty funny in the movie as Stan, Michael Jordan's assistant. And for the human characters, they were all really good. You got some cameos from basketball players, and of course from a comedic star, Bill Murray from Ghostbusters, which I was pretty funny. And I liked him interacting with Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes, which that's towards the end of the film. And for the voice cast in the film, you got Danny DeVito, who voices the villain in this movie, Mr. Swackhammer, this evil alien criminal boss who runs a theme park that has pretty low ratings. He was pretty good in the film and pretty entertaining as the villain, and he was pretty memorable for a villainous character from my childhood. And for the nerd lurks, they were pretty entertaining as well. And we do learn about them, of how they feel towards the end of the film, which you do understand about like why they're doing this to the Looney Tunes. And of course, when it comes to the Looney Tunes themselves, they're extremely entertaining and fun for the most part. You know, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. I love these characters, and for what they do on screen, just really makes this film pretty fun. Makes it more fun than ever as well. And the animation, though, when we do see, you know, the Looney Tunes interacting with our world, you know, when this film is combining with live action and animation, the people who worked on that, the people who worked on the animation progress of bringing these characters to our world, they did a terrific job with that. It's like the people who've done that before with Who Framed Roger Rabbit from Disney, which that film is much better than this one though. But it's not like this is bad. No. This is still a great movie, but I prefer Who Framed Roger Rabbit than this though. But the animators who worked on really well bringing, you know, these classic cartoons characters to life in our world, they did a terrific job with that. And this movie is definitely one of the best ones of you know, mixing live action and animation together like Who Framed Roger Rabbit did. This is definitely one of the best ones. And the jokes and humor in the film are really entertaining for the most part, mostly due to the Looney Tunes get up to their crazy shenanigans and wackiness they've always done in recent years. You know, Squash, Stretch, Boom, and stuff like that. And the story, it's a really creative story of having, you know, a famous person like athlete or anything like that meeting any cartoon characters from, say, you know, either like Warner Brothers cartoons or Disney cartoons. It's such a really creative story, and it just makes it even more fun like that, because that's the reason why this film has gained a massive cult hit, because of, you know, having someone big and famous who was just like everywhere, like say in the 90s or the 2000s or anything like that, meeting with any kind of cartoon you would never expect to see them team up with or anything like that. It just makes this movie just makes it even more fun. Even if you rewatch it, it just makes it even more fun than ever. That's why I've had when I since rewatched Space Jam over recent years, because of how inventive and creative this film is, of having, you know, just like I said, you know, having a famous person interacting with any cartoons you grew up as a kid. It just, again, this movie just makes everything more fun than ever. If you rewatch it, if you would rewatch it, if you never rewatched it, you will probably get the same feeling like I did though. But in the end though, Space Jam, it's just a great film. I love Space Jam a lot as a kid. I never get bored of it ever since I rewatched it in recent years. And if you're a massive fan of like basketball, your favorite sport, if you're a fan of Michael Jordan or the Looney Tunes or anything like that, this is obviously a huge recommendation here from me. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Space Jam. So I'm going to give Space Jam 4 out of 5 stars. Great rating for a beloved childhood favorite of mine. And yeah, I just got no more words to say other than Space Jam is one of my biggest childhood favorites. But thank you guys so much for watching for my review of Space Jam, and also happy 25th anniversary of the Space Jam. I just can't believe it's 25 years old. But let me know what you think of Space Jam. If you have seen this already, do you absolutely freaking adore this film, or do you hate this film? If you hate it, that's okay by me. Of course, I'm with everyone who just adores Space Jam. So yeah, and also stay tuned for my next review, which will be in my AK After a Store review on Space Jam 2: A New Legacy. I'm looking forward to reviewing that one for you guys. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews. And as always, this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.